Hey everyone, and welcome back to Jewelry Sales Training. My name is Stephanie, and I mentioned in the last video that I will do a series of interviews regarding getting a job in jewelry sales or like in luxury retail, as this was a requested video. And I will also film and upload some videos for you about like the personality of successful salespeople. So what kind of habits do they have, and how to stop procrastinating and get your stuff done. This video, however, will be, because it's due time, will be about it's Christmas temp, but it's obviously, it fits every temp position within luxury retail. And I gave it some thought, and I put together a list for you of the pros and cons, so both sides of what I think are the benefits, or maybe also like the cons of taking on a job as a temp, so a temporary worker in luxury retail. And without any further ado, we're going to dive right into this, because it's about time. Like, if you want to get into a temp position, it's really about time for you to apply now. So the job openings should be open now, or will be opening soon. So they won't open just before Christmas, because obviously there will be some time for onboarding. If they do, like security checks, or like, well, not necessarily security checks, but like kind of background checks. So if your records are clean, and also of course you often have some training and get to know the products, handle the products, get to know the sales process, etc. So that when Christmas is happening and it gets super, super, super busy, you know at least roughly what you're doing, and you're functioning. So that's the reason why. So if you haven't, but you're interested, have a look, browse jobs, and start applying. So I think obviously there is a big difference whether you are a student, or you're looking for maybe your first time job, like an entry level position, and you have something else you're doing. So like whether it's going to school or studying, so you basically have no real risk. Or if you're looking for a full-time position and might even have to leave another job in order to start a new role as a sales professional, as a sales associate within a luxury retail company, maybe a company you wanted to work for forever. So I think there's a big difference, because obviously the risk that is associated with both sides is quite different. So if you would have to quit a job, or like leave a current secure position for a temp job, then obviously you would always have the downside of the risk involved, because a temporary position is exactly that, it's temporary. There might be the option of temp to perm, which means a temporary position can potentially turn into a full-time position or like a permanent position. However, this is not necessarily a given. So I think the first con might be, it's obviously a risk involved with it because it's only temporarily, but also combined with a very big pro that you can easily get your foot into the door. Getting your foot in the door is obviously a big, big pro. And I think also it's a very interesting way to, especially when you're like maybe young, or maybe just starting in the retail industry, or trying to transition into the retail industry. There are loads of pros actually for a temporary position. I mean, you learn about the industry, you get a very good understanding of how it's working, what is going on. You really see what it looks like when it gets busy. So you get a taste of how crazy it can get. And I mean like crazy in a positive sense, because it's like super busy. But also obviously, if you have never worked in retail, if you have never used a till, if you have never taken a payment with a card machine, if you have never handled repairs, and yes, these things even happen during Christmas time, trust me, people will come and want to get that jewelry fixed, even if it's like super busy, and everyone should know that everyone's just buying Christmas presents, but you will get it. And also after Boxing Day, you will have people coming back, or coming in returning their presents and stuff they didn't really like and they want to swap it for something else, etc. So there's loads of admin work as well. So you get a really good understanding what the industry is like, what it's like to work in retail to the craziest, busiest time. So this can be stressful, obviously, but also you get a very good understanding whether you like it and you think you want to do it or not, and you can do it. I think also like the biggest pros probably next to you get an understanding is also you have your foot in the door. So during Christmas time, it's usually the time where they hire loads of workers who come on in as temporary positions. So you will have the opportunity to be able to meet people, to build connections, to build relationships, to get an understanding of how the processes work, etc. So even if you, let's go with a big brand. So if you would work for brand XYZ on, for example, we're in London here. So if you would go to like a concession in Selfridges or something else, and you might want to later on transition to another branch or like to another department store or to another luxury like boutique or a separate store, then you can still do it, but you still already understand how the company is working. You already got all the knowledge about the company, which you could then obviously use when you apply for a permanent position within a different boutique. So or even if you say like, oh, maybe that's not the brand of my dreams or my favorite brand, but still you got the taste of the luxury retail industry and you can get your first experiences. You can learn new different skill sets. You probably get trained. So you probably get some onboarding training on how to deal with the customers, how they would like you to present yourself to the customers, how you treat the customers. Maybe you get some training on which kind of language to use, how to close a sale, how to make it an experience, because I mean in the end this is probably what luxury retail is mostly about. It's a higher price, so you have the quality and obviously the luxurious feel when someone buys something. So you can get all this knowledge and the skills and experience to use to apply for a different position. Another benefits combined with this is that you will earning money while you're working there, and especially during Christmas time, most of the sales roles will have commission. So depending on how much commission you get, how high your targets are, whether you get commission from the first pound you sell or dollar you sell, or whether you have to hit a certain like threshold first, etc. So this is something you would need to figure out, and this is something that will probably be written down in your contract, or you get already some information on the interview process, etc. But there is a good chance that you can make some more money. So even if it's just for you, to just get a 3 months job, it's quite nice though, because you get more money, you have a bit of a push. So loads of people are buying because we have this urgency, especially in the Western world, to buy someone else something pretty for Christmas. Also, there might be loads of proposals going on around Christmas time, where people buy engagement rings, etc. You might not be allowed to sell engagement rings and fine jewelry when you start in a temporary position or when you're starting somewhere new. If you have no experience with like selling diamonds, then chances are you might not be allowed to sell these. But especially in luxury retail, even if you only sell silver and gold items, yeah, you can make money. You can money not just the money you get for like your salary or like as a pay per hour or pay per day, whatever the rate is you get, but also if you can get commission, it's usually tends to be quite high during Christmas period. The downside, obviously, is I think as it's always, especially in sales, it's quite often most companies within their like retail teams, they will have targets obviously for the teams, but also a very personal commission. So if you go to any other industries like banking, for example, you might find, depending on where you are, that people have not only their own targets to hit, but also the bonus depends on the overall achievement of the team. So if you don't have this, but it's mainly just like commission for your own performance, then it can get quite competitive. I already mentioned that it can get busy, and I think yeah, so these are probably like the biggest pros and cons. So on the pro side, just to recap, so you get experience, you can get the foot in the door, you can make money, you can figure out whether there's something you like, you enjoy, and you want to keep doing. Um, and I mean, there might be the option of temp to perm, or for you then to move on and apply for another role or for a different store. So you already have the first experiences, you already have relevant knowledge and skills. If you're interested in how to land a job in luxury retail, or if you want me to give you some tips on how to present yourself in the best light during the interview process, but also when writing your application, if this is of interest to you, then please do let me know. I worked in recruiting myself, and obviously I've been already employed a few times, so I kind of know at least a bit what might be expected from you. So if there's no interest for you, please do let me know in the comments below. Then on the con side, we spoke about that you might take a risk. So if you have to leave a permanent position or have to leave a position for a temporary role, there might be the option that it is only temporary, that you might not be allowed to stay on. It might get stressful, it might get competitive. So it's a time where things are like, it's really busy. So I think if you have never worked in retail, and also if you this sounds probably really ridiculous if you if you're new to this, but trust me, from someone who used to be a banker and who worked the first time in retail with 28 years, it's hard. Like sometimes just standing for a whole day, being on your feet, is very different to sitting on your desk or behind a desk. So yeah, it might be physically exhausting for you as well. However, I always really enjoyed it. I liked it, and I mean, this is why we're here at the channel, because I like doing this stuff and I like talking about jewelry, and I think luxury retail is a really interesting field to be in. But yeah, so this being said, another benefit that might not be as essential, but I think I still want to highlight for you, is that you might get staff discount. And I know this shouldn't necessarily be the reason why you want to apply for a job, but I think if you apply for a brand you really like, it's nice to wear the jewelry, to wear the pieces, and well, sometimes, well, most of the time, I guess, they will want you to wear their jewelry to represent the brand. And then it depends on, obviously, whether they just give it to you and you sign it in and sign it out after the day, or whether you have to buy the items yourself. But also, if you maybe just want to gift it to someone, or have, depending on the policies. But yeah, so if you want to treat yourself, it's really nice if you can get some staff discount maybe. So this might be a benefit. And let me quickly check my list, because I made a list so I don't forget anything. Oh yeah, so maybe one thing I might want to say as a negative before we finish this video off, because it's already 15 minutes. But I think one thing that might happen, and I just want you to be aware of this, is when you enter in a temporary position, and this is not how it should be like, but you might feel slightly different than if you would enter in as a permanent or full-time employee. I think it's often that the new person is obviously not part of the team yet, and as I said, usually if the company culture is inclusive, it shouldn't happen. But you go to a team of people, they have worked maybe for years together, and then temporary people come on in, and if this happens quite regularly, it might be that they might not get used to people that quickly, or that they might not bother too much of getting to know the other people who are just temporarily there. So yeah, this might, I don't really think it's a massive risk, and I don't think this should bother you, because as I said, if it's an inclusive company, then in the end the person matters, and you work together with the other one. So yeah, it's totally fine, and totally like doable to be on a good colleague level with the other ones, but I thought I'd just mention it for you so you can make up your mind whether this is for you or not. As I said earlier in the video at the beginning, so I think there are various pros for applying for a temporary position. However, you might want to do this now, and you might want to consider starting it now. And also have a look out during the time, so when you apply, to see like, are there any options, so you get a feel already. You will usually be there for like maybe 3 months or a bit longer. You know, might want to have a look out, like whether there are any job openings for after Christmas. How long are they for? How many are there? Because, you know, chances are other people might want to stay on as well. And you also might want to have a look out with other companies, or at least with other stores, whether you can apply while working there. So just in case you have to leave an employment, or like have to leave your job in order to go to the company for 3 months. Yeah, so take care of yourself and make sure you put things in place that yeah, you're just like happy after you leave, if you have to leave, or also if, you know, it might not work out for you, and if you might not enjoy working in retail at all, so that you know, okay, you're already maybe in the process of finding something else and don't have to restart like from zero, maybe have to worry about money, etc. So I think these are my closing thoughts on this. I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions on, again, on how to apply, like how to read a job description, what they're looking for, please do let me know, and I will see you next Sunday here again. And yes, please feel free to subscribe, to click like, the notifications button, share, whatever, you know, if you know someone who might enjoy this, send them over here, send them to the Instagram account. I really would like to grow this channel quite big, because I think it's about time that there will be some more tailored information for not just luxury retail, but especially for jewelry sales. And if I can be a tiny part of this, I'm here and I'm happy to do this. So I will see you next Sunday, and I wish you a fabulous time. And please let me know if you have applied for a role in luxury retail for a temporary position, yeah, or not, and why not, and why you did. So, and obviously I'm totally keen to know whether it worked and where you're going to work. So looking forward to hearing from you and getting an update. I will talk to you soon. Bye.